Hey there, welcome into my apartment where I have a lot of my orchids. In fact, we were sent home from work yesterday, so I brought home all of my plants that I didn't think could survive a month or more without any water. Now, interestingly enough, I had a couple of catasetums at work and I elected to leave them there kind of as an experiment. I mean, I don't intend on watering them until the end of May, so they should be alright, although it is a little nerve-wracking not being able to check on them for a month. But I will definitely let you know what that looks like when the time comes. But right now, what I've got here at home, I've got two beautiful orange flowers over here. This is Cattleya Jessie Lee on the right. Actually, it's a Rhyncholaelia Cattleya, RLC. The flowers have lasted a really nice long time on this, and it smells so nice and sweet. Just love it. Beautiful. And then next to it is that beautiful, beautiful Clivia miniata that I had several suggestions about a month ago on how to treat this guy, and I repotted it in our orchid bark and just a little bit of succulent mix, and I've been watering it a little bit more now that it's kind of starting to grow again and blooming. But I'm so happy to have caught it in full bloom for you, because I think tomorrow you'll see, tomorrow the oldest flowers will start falling off. But it is just so nice, and even though, you know, it's just once a year, but they are super nice. Then of course I brought home the jade plant. I brought home the gift Noid Phalaenopsis. Seems to be doing okay. I had a little calancho that I had at work. I've got a couple little slipper orchids here. This is urbanianum and then tonsum, both of them with buds. Actually, urbanianum looks like two buds on this spike, and then another bud down here. Tonsum's just got the one solitary bud there. And then we've got the freaky little appletonianum that just really is bizarre looking, but it's got another bud opening up, although it doesn't look nearly as big, so I'm not sure what that's going to turn out looking like. Let's see, villosum over here. The new growth on that is coming along really nicely, and there's actually another new growth inside here. I don't know if you can see it down there. Yeah, I think you can. Little new growth pushing out there. Great news. And then the Michael Kopovitz over here has got 4 growths on it coming up, and what's really exciting is the way that this new little root is growing around in the pot. That makes me very happy. And I think there are a couple of other roots just now starting to poke out, but I don't want to zoom in on those right now. And then my big prime child is doing pretty well. It's got a new growth on it down there pushing out. Lots of root growth on it too. And then finally this little Mormodia jumbo world, it's finally starting to drop the remainder of its flowers. The first spike is already dried up and done. These won't be far behind, but then there is a new growth right here pushing out. So that is great. Can you see it? Is it blurry? Yeah, so that's starting to root, and hopefully we'll have a nice new growth on there coming up soon. One more plant that I haven't shown you guys in a while. This is a Dendrobium country girl. It's a nobile type Dendrobium that I got at a holiday party, and I took it to work and I brought it home after we all got sent home. So it's been in bloom for about a month, and the fragrance is just so nice. It's unusual. It's different from any other orchid I have. It's just a really intense, heady. I don't know how to. Heady meaning, like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's like it hits a different part of your sense of smell. Like, it's not up front, it's more in the back, if that makes any sense. But the flowers are super nice. I learned a lesson the other day though. If you pop off the anther caps, the flowers will wilt prematurely. So that's something to watch out for. I've found a couple mealybugs on the new growths and inside the flowers as well, so I've been treating those with alcohol as I see them. So Dendrobium country girl, really pretty little plant. Alright, so that's it for the apartment. let's head over to the greenhouse and see what's going on over there. You know, with everything going on, it has been a real just blessing to be able to come to this greenhouse at Fantasy Orchids in Louisville and just enjoy the plants that I have here and the plants around me, and just kind of take some moments to just relax. The kind of the star of the show in my collection right now is this Phalaenopsis Schilleriana. I counted 36 buds, and about 3/4 of them are open. There's still got a few to pop open on there, but it's really nice the way that they've kind of opened up. Almost all of the flowers are facing the same direction. A few of them are facing kind of to the back, but most of them are facing the front. And for the longest time I didn't stake the spike at all. I just let it grow. But then once it got to the point where the weight of the spike was starting to lean over so much that the flowers were going to be touching the ground or touching the bench, I decided I would go ahead and put a stake in there, but still kind of follow the natural arch. And as you can see, it's really turned out nicely. So I can't wait till they're all popped open and I can share those with you. I will definitely be entering that into the Global Virtual Orchid Show on April the 4th. I'm a little concerned about the leaves because they've got these pink spots that end up kind of drying out and sinking. So I'm not sure if the plant itself is 100% okay. Might have a little fungus. Okay, moving on to Hal. This is Hal, the Bulbophyllum echinolabium. He's got two big, nice, beautiful spikes really rushing out of the pot. Those are going to be really cool when those open up. And if you look kind of behind this pseudobulb in the back there looks to be another growth pushing out, and I really would not be surprised if that is another spike. It seems like the spikes, even though they look very similar to the new growths, they are a little bit lighter in color. Now those rosy roots that you just saw, those belong to Cattleya rex. I posted those on Instagram and it got a lot of attention. I think a lot of people like roots out there. It's just a sign of a healthy plant. And this one especially, who would have thought when I glued this little seedling to a piece of wood 5 years ago that it would grow so well. A couple of the other plants I've got potted in granite. Now this plant actually bloomed last year, but it has really struggled to get established and put out roots, and yeah, it does have a new growth on it, so hopefully that's going to put out some new roots this year. All of the plants are putting out new growths of various sizes, and it's really interesting because, you know, the way Cattleyas grow, some of them, sometimes they start out, you know, and you just have several small leaves, and then suddenly the newest growth, the leaf will be much, much larger than the previous ones. So I'm not quite sure. I guess it just has to do with how much water and nutrition the plant can take in when it grows. This plant has a seed pod on it. It was actually in bloom last summer. And this plant was always the furthest ahead. When I got the flask of plants, this plant was already about 10 centimeters tall when the rest were much smaller. It does have a new growth pushing out, but again, this is another one that's really struggled to put out roots, and so it's just not growing as fast. It might not bloom this year. But what I was saying, see how this is kind of a smaller plant, and then the newest growth on it, look how tall that new growth is. Just really, really exploding out of there. So it's going to be interesting to see which plants actually form sheaths this year and try to bloom. Maybe not the ones that I think. For example, this one is actually a really small plant, but it put out a sheath last year. And generally speaking, when it's putting out sheaths, it's thinking about blooming. It's got 2 growths on it this year, and even though the plant, like I said, is very small, who knows? These growths might be big enough to bloom. It would be cool if they both did. Taking a break from the Cattleyas, this is a Dienia ophrydis. It's also known as a cattail orchid, and it is slowly putting out its new growth for the year. Each one of those white, dry pseudobulbs that are just sitting in the pot should put out their own growth this year. It'd be really nice if they all bloom together. Now this is a Cattleya maxima cerulea that I got a few weeks ago, and it's just now starting to put out new roots. So I am going to repot this into a bigger pot, but I'm going to use that granite that I was using with the Cattleya rexes because in the greenhouse, it's so hot and humid all the time. Bark really doesn't last very long. It gets mushy and decays very quickly. So I'm hoping that granite will keep that from happening. This is a Jose Marti. I also got it at the same time as that Maxima, and it's been potted in this granite for about 3 weeks, 3 weeks now,
and you can see that the new roots are seeming to do okay. They continue to grow over that granite and into it, so that is a good sign. Hopefully it's going to continue to do well. And then finally, my Rhyncholaelia Aristocrat that we looked at a few weeks ago. I had this at work. I ended up bringing it home this weekend, and then I brought it over to the greenhouse. It's planted in leca, actually, so I'm just going to kind of leave it right now, but I might be dividing that plant soon. And that's it for this update. Thank you so much for tuning in to check on my green pets. I got a really positive response about the Global Virtual Orchid Show post that I posted on Saturday. So I'm going to get back with you within the next couple days with some more details on that. Please continue to spread the word, and let's make this something to look forward to and something to really enjoy. Until next time, guys, I'm William Green. See ya.